Candide begins in the idyllic Westphalian castle of Baron Thunder-ten-Trench, where young Candide is raised. He is taught by the philosopher Pangloss, who believes that all is for the best in this best of all possible worlds, a philosophy derived from Leibniz's optimism. Candide is in love with Cunegonde, the Baron's beautiful daughter. Candide's idyllic life is shattered when he is caught kissing Cunegonde and is promptly expelled from the castle. He is conscripted into the Bulgarian army, where he experiences the brutal realities of war. He witnesses horrific violence, including the destruction of his former home and the supposed death of Cunegonde and her family. Escaping the war, Candide encounters Pangloss, now a beggar ravaged by syphilis, a disease he contracted from Cunegonde's chambermaid, Paquette. Despite his dire circumstances, Pangloss continues to cling to his optimistic philosophy. They travel to Lisbon, only to find themselves caught in the devastating 1755 earthquake. The earthquake becomes a symbol of the arbitrary and cruel nature of the world. Pangloss, despite witnessing the suffering, insists that the quake is for the best, a statement that leads to his execution by the Inquisition. Candide, horrified and disillusioned, is flogged but then cared for by an old woman who reveals her tragic past, filled with hardship and abuse. Candide discovers that Cunegonde is alive but has been forced into servitude. He kills both her captors, a Grand Inquisitor and a Jewish merchant named Don Issachar, and flees with Cunegonde and the old woman. They journey to the New World, encountering further examples of human cruelty and folly. In Buenos Aires, Cunegonde is pursued by the governor, Don Fernando Ibarra. Candide, fearing capture, is forced to leave Cunegonde behind. He takes his valet, Cacambo, and they travel through Paraguay, where they encounter the Jesuit commandant, Cunegonde's brother, who also attempts to kill Candide. Candide and Cacambo continue their journey, encountering the utopian land of El Dorado, a place where gold and jewels are abundant, and life is peaceful and harmonious. However, Candide's love for Cunegonde compels him to leave El Dorado, seeking to rescue her. He departs with sheep laden with gold and jewels, but he loses most of his fortune on his way back to the Old World. Candide's journey takes him to Suriname, where he witnesses the horrific treatment of enslaved people. He then sails to France, where he is swindled and deceived. He travels to England, where he witnesses the execution of Admiral Byng, another example of injustice. Finally, Candide travels to Venice, where he encounters Paquette and brother Giroflée, both now living in misery. He also finds 6 deposed kings, each with his tale of misfortune. He learns that Cunegonde is alive but has become ugly and ill-tempered. Candide, Pangloss, Cacambo, and the old woman travel to Constantinople, where they purchase a small farm. They are joined by Cunegonde, her brother, now a galley slave, Paquette, and brother Giroflée. They engage in various forms of labor, each contributing to the farm's upkeep. Pangloss continues to spout his optimistic philosophy, even as the characters work tirelessly to survive. Candide, however, begins to question Pangloss's teachings. He observes the relentless cycle of suffering and the futility of abstract philosophical debates. One day, Candide consults a wise old farmer, who advises him to cultivate his garden. This becomes the central message of the novel. Candide and his companions abandon philosophical speculation and focus on practical work, finding contentment in their labor and community. The novel concludes with Candide declaring that we must cultivate our garden. This statement rejects abstract optimism and commits to practical action and self-reliance. It recognizes that while the world may be filled with suffering and injustice, individuals can find meaning and purpose in their own endeavors. Commentary. Candide is a satirical masterpiece that skewers philosophical optimism, religious hypocrisy, and the absurdities of human behavior. Voltaire's sharp wit and relentless irony expose the contradictions of a world filled with suffering and injustice. The novel's episodic structure and rapid-fire narrative create a sense of chaos and absurdity, mirroring the turbulent world Candide inhabits. Through Candide's disillusionment, Voltaire advocates for practical action and self-reliance, suggesting that true happiness lies not in abstract philosophy but in cultivating one's own garden. The book remains a timeless critique of blind faith and a powerful reminder of the importance of critical thinking.